What's going on, guys? Tyler here, and today we're talking about Elementor Flip Boxes. Flip Boxes are a great way to add some extra style to your site and also a kind of a tool that you can use to display multiple pieces of information to the user. Now, sometimes people would think, these aren't going to be super mobile friendly, but I'll actually show you how they work on mobile, and they're actually pretty dang good. So I'm excited for today's tutorial. It will be a quick one, so you can get these implemented in your site ASAP. Alright guys, let's jump in. If you guys like the features shown in today's video or you're interested in upgrading to Elementor Pro at any time, be sure and check out the link down below in the description. See what kind of price you can get for Elementor Pro. Like I've explained in so many of my other videos, it is by far the best plugin I have ever purchased, by far the most helpful, the most useful, and it has so many, just an array of features that you can add to your site to upgrade it and just make it really pop off the page. So be sure and check out that link down below in the description and see what kind of price you can get for Elementor Pro. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Be sure and smash that nice red looking subscribe button, hit that bell icon to be notified of future videos just like this one. And if you're a returning subscriber, hi, thanks for stopping back by. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Let's jump into my computer and get started with the tutorial. Alright guys, I've made a new page here on WordPress and it is called Flipbox Tutorial. And yeah, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to add these flip boxes here. I'm going to go ahead and actually delete this section here. I was just kind of messing around with it there, but let's go ahead and add 3 columns here. So we'll go into add a new section and we'll go to 3 column section right there. And let's go ahead and hit menu and back and get back to the elements here. Now, if you can just go ahead and search, it's just called Flipbox. It's actually 2 words. I put 1 word here, but it's actually 2 words here. Flipbox, you can just click and drag it right in and click and drag another one right in. We can just add a multiple here. And if you don't want to do that, you can actually just make one how you want it and then duplicate it. For this video, let's just go ahead and do that. We'll just make one and then go ahead and duplicate it. So you can see already it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's an animation, and I can zoom in a little bit here so you can really see what's happening. But it appears to be like this 3-dimensional card that just flips over. And there's information on the back side that is also displayed. Now, it's kind of cool. It kind of gives this like 3D feel to it, and it really kind of makes this information pop off your page, especially when you're using vibrant colors like these that really, distinguish itself from the background, for example. Now, there's a lot of different settings we can go over, but I'm just going to breeze through them really quickly. Let's just go ahead and hit edit here so we can make these edits. You have the option here. We're under content here and under the front here that you can see there's a few different settings, the front, the back, and then the settings. Let's go under the front here, and you have the option to change the background. Now this is going to be either a color or a gradient. You can simply just go over to content, click on either front or back, just depending on which one you're trying to edit, go to background and change the color. This is how you're going to actually change the color of the card. You're going to go ahead and select a color. If you want an image, you can add that image right here. For example, we now have that image, and if we actually want to fit this image in, we can go position, center, and then we can go size, we can go cover, and that kind of brings it more to fit in the box, the card there. We don't need this right now. Let's just go ahead and leave it as a color, and let me show you a gradient real quick. The gradient, if you want to keep adding a gradient here, you can put a primary color right here under the gradient selector right here. You'll select your primary color, like let's say for example, we'll just go like a light orange. Perfect. And we have the location. This will actually adjust where the gradient starts. Like, is it starting at the very bottom, or is it starting all the way through? That's going to be at 0. The second color, you can select what it fades to right down here and the location of that. So if you want it all the way at the top so it doesn't start fading any orange until the very, very top, or if it's all the way through, you would leave that at 100. And then the type is linear or radial, and if you switch it to radial, it basically is just like a circle of orange that fades out into a pink circle there. So you can leave it at linear and adjust the angle if you need to. This will be the direction of which way it's fading. I think it defaults to 180. I'll just leave it there. And yeah, now we have those settings all set up so we can keep that card just how it is and have those colors there. The same thing, you'll do the same exact thing for the backside. You'll just hit back and hit background, and then you have the option classic right here. You can add an image or a color, a solid color or a gradient, and have that faded color there. And under content, we have graphical element. You have some different options here. We can set this to none if you just want information on the card. You don't necessarily have an icon or an image or anything like that. We can set this to an image if you have an image that you need to display kind of up top above the information, like maybe a specific product that you need to show, like a basketball, and then you want information about that basketball down below. We have an icon if you just want to put like some default icon, and if you actually click on the icon, it'll bring up the Font Awesome library where you can find your icon that you're looking for, and then you can just go ahead and hit insert there and it will add that icon there. You can also upload an SVG right here. I'm not going to worry about that too much just for the sake of this tutorial, but essentially you would want to put some kind of icon or photo that represents what the card is about. Otherwise, I would just leave it to none there. All right, now let's go ahead and hit view here. We have a few different options. Now these actually refer to the view of the icon, so we can do stacked, which is actually going to put a circle element below our icon and then have the icon up top. You can do square as well. That will put a square element below the icon and the icon on top. Those are just some options for the icon here. You can also do framed. That's just going to put a border essentially around it. You have square or circle as well. Looks kind of nice. I kind of like the circular one. Again, like I said, this isn't really for anything that I'm making in particular, so just for the tutorial we'll use that there. This is the front of your card as we're editing the front settings here. So we're going to go ahead and edit the title and description, and we'll put this is the title. That's where you would edit the title right there, and this is where you would edit the description. I'm not going to worry about editing that there, but if you do want to see, you can add a decent amount of information here. However, it does push the card up, so we'll have to make some kind of adjustment to the size of it if that's even possible here. So just kind of keep your information limited to just a little bit. It looks like 2 lines looks really good right there. We got the title and then a space and then 2 lines, and that looks pretty good there. So let's go ahead and just jump into the back settings here. Now this is going to be the settings on the back side of the card. So when the card actually flips, this is what they're going to see. Here is the content. We can go ahead and adjust this right here. This is the heading. We'll just leave that there. The description as well, so more information. And then typically you have some kind of call to action button. Like this is a basketball. This is why this basketball is awesome and you need to use this basketball. And then you can flip over and say, for a limited time, we're having a sale on this specific basketball. And then your button can say shop now or something like that. Basically, you can present 2 pieces of information. Typically what I would do if I was going to put this on my website is I would have one section that I just have like, this is why this product is awesome. This is why why you should want this product. And the backside would kind of be like, hey, this is why we're the best for providing you with this product. Like we have a sale going on right now, or our basketballs are 100% genuine leather, or whatever, you know, you're doing there, whatever kind of product you're putting out there. And then obviously you'll want to set your link here to the actual page. So for the basketball example, we would go ahead and set that link to the basketball product page. Now what we have down here under settings is the actual height and the border radius. So for example, like we did say that maybe we want a lot of information, we could add that. I'm now seeing here, we could add that. You can see we now have a lot. How does the flip look? Well, it looks pretty good. It just looks still like a card that flips over. It has a lot of information on it, which that might not be the best spot to put a lot of information. Maybe you can keep it kind of short and sweet and keep the card more of a square if you like that. Or you know what, you can put a lot on there and just hope people can read it all before they hover over and flip it. So let's go ahead and just we'll backspace this and set the height back. We'll go back to settings. If you just erase the numbers here, right over here, you can actually just delete those numbers out and it'll reset to the default, what it defaulted to. Here's the border radius. Oops, let's get back to there. Here's the border radius under settings here. This is going to be the roundness of the corners. So as we drag this up, you can see the card actually gets rounder. And as we bring it down to, oh, not too much, maybe like 22 right there, you can see, I don't know if you can see, but the edges of the card are now round. So they have rounded corners to them. That's really nice if your kind of overall theme and style doesn't really have those super hard corners and it has more of like rounded corners. So let's go ahead and just delete that out, reset it to the default, and then we have a few more settings here under settings. The flip effect. Do we want a flip? Do we want a slide? So you can actually see when you hover over, it's like another card slides up in front of it. And you can set that direction right over here if you want it to slide left, so it slides left like that, or whatever direction you want. You have the push effect. So as you hover over it, it pushes it up almost like they're attached and only one is in view, and then they push upwards. Again, you can set that direction right there. Zoom in or zoom out. As you hover over it, it kind of just it's kind of transparent and then just kind of pops up and zooms in. Zoom out would essentially be the opposite of that. So kind of like the front card is zooming out. And then you have the fade effect, which is basically you hover over it and it just fades. I like the card flip. I think it's pretty cool. Maybe another one I would do is the slide. That's kind of nice. It kind of, especially when you have multiple of them. Let me show you what this looks like. When you have, let's see, we just have 3 here. When you hover over your mouse, it's kind of nice that like you can kind of see where your mouse is and it slides to bring that card up. You could also do maybe down would look okay also. Let's see what that looks like. If we go down, yeah, that looks pretty cool too. So as you kind of like hover over it, they'll pull down from the top. That's kind of nice. Let's not worry about this. Perfect. Let's bring this back into the middle, and yeah, we'll just leave it on flip because really we're designing a flip card. So but just know you do have those options if you're interested in making some adjustments there. Now let's go ahead. There is 3D depth. We can turn that on and see what that does. You can kind of see what this does is this is kind of almost popping the text off. So if we're looking at the card flat like this way, it pops the text off so that when it flips, the text almost kind of like moves with it. So if you look at it, it almost feels like 3D, like the text is not really on the card, it's floating in front of it, and the same thing for the back side. So that's kind of cool effect. Again, you just toggle that switch on or off if you want it. Now let's actually talk about some style settings. For the front, we have padding. Increasing this will actually increase the spacing between the edges and the information. So you can see the content is now kind of being pushed in really tightly, and that's because we've increased the padding. So if you were to adjust the size, maybe make it really big, and then you wanted to tighten the content area, you could do that with padding right there. The alignment you could do right here. If you were going to put them on the side, maybe that would kind of look good. For this, I'm just going to keep it centered. The vertical position, if you need to adjust the vertical position, like push the content down to the bottom of the card or the top of the card or in the middle, you could do that right there. Border type, this is where you're actually going to set a border. So if you want, let's say, a solid border, we can just hit solid right there and turn the width up, and you can see the width of that border. Obviously, it's very, very big right there, but basically that's how you would set a border right there, and we can go ahead and remove that and hit none. And then spacing, this is actually going to be the spacing in between the icon. So you can see right over here the icon, and then down below we have options to adjust the other spacing for the title and such down there. So rather than putting spacing at 0, I'll just backspace it to default it back to what it was. Primary color, if you want to adjust the icon color, you can certainly do that just by selecting your primary color. And if you click on the actual color, you can set it to any random color. What it is pulling right here are your global colors, the settings that you've set up for your global colors as your website colors. Over here for secondary color, This is like what's filled in on the icon. So basically the background of the icon here, because we're using that ring, the frame there, you got this kind of black filled in color there. To clear it, you can just click on the color and hit this little undo button. What it looks like undo, it's the clear button that will set it back to the default. And let's get back here. The icon size, this is where you can actually adjust the size of the icon depending on how big you want it. Again, just to delete it, you can default it back. Icon padding, that's the actual padding around the icon against the frame. So the frame is around the icon, and if you increase the padding, the frame will move out while the icon stays there. Or if you decrease the padding, you can see the frame will shrink in while the icon stays there. The icon rotate defaults to 0, but if you want to rotate your icons for whatever reason, you can. It's up to 360 would be, or maybe 359. That would be a full circle there. So you can just kind of set your degrees that you want to rotate there. Your border width is going to be the actual border size of the frame that we've set. A bigger border might look pretty good. You never know. Sometimes it looks nice if it kind of matches your text's thickness and kind of brings that just cohesiveness to the style there. Border radius, this is maybe say we set that framed square frame there. So we have that frame, the square border around the icon. We can adjust the border radius to bring in the corners so they're a little bit rounded and not just completely like sharp square. Title, this is going to be the spacing of the title from the bottom. So if we push it up, you can see it's increasing the spacing between the title and the description. Let's go ahead and leave that there. The text color, we can set that right here. I showed you how to do that up above here for the icon color. It's going to be the same. This is something different, the typography. You can go ahead and just click here and you have your global fonts. You can set your primary, secondary, headline, anything like that. If you need to make individual adjustments, you can hit this little pencil here and adjust, say, the font or the size or the weight. Maybe we want it really thick. We can do that right there. Whatever we want to do, we can make that adjustment right there. The same thing for the description. It'll be the same settings, your text color and your typography settings. And then we move on to the back of the card. So let's move on to the back of the card. Now you're going to see just about everything is the same here. It's very, very similar. So go ahead and make your adjustments as you need to. Right up here is going to refer to the padding of the card, the alignment of the content of the card, the vertical position of the content, meaning where in the card it's placed at the top, middle, or bottom. Border type for the card, putting a border around the entire card. The title is going to be the this section right here, the title. I don't know if you can see that really, but over here on the left, you have a whole section for title right here. All these settings will apply to the title. Same thing down here. All these settings will apply to the description. And like I said, I showed you those on the previous card. So if you didn't see those, go back and check that out. For the button, now we have a few different settings here. We can change the size of the button right here very easily by just putting it like extra small or a large button, however we want to do it. I think it defaults to small. And then the typography, if we want to make adjustments to the actual text in the button, we can do that right here. And right here, we can change the text color for normal, meaning when the button is just sitting there. We can change the color right here, the background color of the button if we need to do that. The border color, such as this little like white border around it. You can also change the hover. So maybe we want to make the background color not white, maybe like an orange. So when we hover over it now, you can see that the background color now changes to orange to show you that you're hovering that. And you can make adjustments to the text color when you hover, or the border color, or anything you want. So if we wanted to change maybe the border color to black and then just leave this as a default. Now when I hover over, the border should change to black, showing that, hey, I'm highlighting this, and that kind of is a nice little feature right there. Border width, if you need to increase the width of the border, that's going to be the actual border around the button. Again, delete the number to default it, and border radius will be the roundness of the corner. You can see as you bring it all the way up, it will turn the button into a nice rounded button. Now let's go ahead and talk about mobile. So here we go. We'll go back to mobile here. Now, as you can see, this is the flip card. However, people don't have a mouse in mobile to hover over it. So what I've found actually works is when you tap on it, it will actually flip. So think about this when you're using your phone. When you actually tap on it, it will flip the card. And then when you go to scroll, it will flip back. So for example, say they come up to this little square, right? And they have, they see this information and things like that. So they tap on the square. Maybe you put in the text, like click here for more information, or click here to learn more, or something like that. They tap on the card and it flips. Once they tap on the card and it flips, it will stay there no matter what they're doing. As long as they don't touch the screen, it will stay there on the backside with your shop now or whatever kind of button you added to it. It will just sit there like that until they start scrolling maybe off of the card or anything like that. Then it will flip back. So it just is really just going to be a content, and as long as they tap on it, it's going to be left with the button, our call to action button, which is what we want. And then if they scroll off, then it will flip back and go away. But that's kind of how mobile works. I'm sure tablet is just about the same way. Like I said, they're not going to have that that mouse feature to hover over, but desktop definitely will. And yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much how it looks, guys. And then if you like these cards, if you want to use them throughout your site, you can just simply duplicate and drag them and drop them wherever you want. And if you want to use them consistently across your site, you can actually save them as a template. And I have other videos. Just look on my channel for Elementor templates, and you can learn how to make them into a template and bring them into other pages very, very easy. Similar to like a copy and paste method, but these will actually display wherever you want, wherever you add the template in, using this button right here, this little folder button where it says add template. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really think that if you use these flip boxes, it'll bring this kind of dynamic, like 3D effect to your website, which can be super cool and very modern, and kind of show your customers that you're up to date, up to the times with all these design features. So I think it's a really cool option, really cool feature that you can add, and that is thanks to Elementor Pro. So be sure and check out the links if you haven't upgraded yet. Join Elementor Pro. It is really an awesome plugin, and click on that link, see what kind of price you can get for it. It really is an incredible plugin, like I said. And if you're new to the channel, be sure and smash that nice red looking subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. It helps me grow the family nice and big. And if you are returning, thank you again for watching another video. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.